Vice President Harris is expected to introduce her running mate today at a campaign event in Pennsylvania. And U.S. stock futures are pointing toward a modest rebound this morning after yesterday's steep losses. Good morning. I'm Corva Coleman from NPR News, and here are today's top stories. The center of Tropical Storm Debby is moving over Georgia and back out to the Atlantic Ocean, but its bands are soaking much of the southeast. Forecasters say the storm could linger for several days over parts of South Carolina and Georgia. South Carolina Public Radio's Victoria Hansen reports from Charleston.
Potentially catastrophic is how the National Weather Service in Charleston is describing the amount of rainfall expected, anywhere from 10 to 20 inches, especially along the coast. Couple the rain with high tides and an anticipated storm surge of 2 to 4 feet pushing on shore, and all that water has little place to go. Charleston's mayor is so concerned about flash flooding, he enacted a curfew last night, essentially closing the peninsula until officials can reassess the danger later. A tornado did touch down overnight in a beachside community just south of Charleston. State and local leaders are urging people to stay home. For NPR News, I'm Victoria Hansen in Charleston, South Carolina.
Stock futures are suggesting they'll open higher this morning on Wall Street. That follows yesterday's 1,000-point loss by the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Economic forecasters are concerned the U.S. economy could face a recession later this year, and many wanted policymakers for the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates last week. They didn't. That disappointed Moody's chief economist, Mark Zandi.
I do think they should start cutting interest rates. I think they're late to the game. I think they've misjudged the slowdown in the economy, and they put their foot on the brakes, and they need to start taking them off and allowing the economy to grow more quickly. So, yeah, I think they need to start cutting rates. At the September meeting, I'd be very surprised if they don't cut rates, and they don't cut rates aggressively.
He spoke to NPR's Morning Edition. There's anticipation over who Vice President Harris will choose as her running mate for the Democratic presidential ticket. She's scheduled to appear with her choice later today at a rally in Philadelphia. There's less than 2 weeks to go before the start of the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. From member station WBEZ, Michael Puente reports activists are at odds with the city over where they can march during the event.
A coalition of pro-Palestinian groups say thousands will descend on Chicago, and they plan to march near the United Center, where much of the convention will take place. The city is limiting a protest route to just 1 mile in length, about 2 blocks from the stadium. Following a federal court hearing Monday in Chicago, the coalition spokesman, Hatem Abudaya, says that's not enough and wants the city to double it.
Absolutely, there will be tens of thousands of people, especially if there's an expanded war.
A federal judge is expected to make a ruling by next week. For NPR News, I'm Michael Puente in Chicago.
Today is the 79th anniversary of the U.S. atomic bombing of the Japanese city of Hiroshima in World War II. Bells tolled in the city in honor of the 140,000 people killed in that attack after the U.S. used an atomic weapon to destroy the city of Nagasaki. 3 days later, Japan surrendered, and the war in the Pacific Theater ended. It began there when Japan attacked Pearl Harbor in December 1941. This is NPR.